The extraordinary great Dharma, though unsought, was nonetheless attained. It's interesting, isn't it? Though unsought, was nonetheless attained. So then through faith and understanding and a variety of courses and conditions, the Tathagata used skillful means to teach the Dharma according to capabilities. I'll come to this line later. In the end, he returned to the ultimate, the Bodhisattva enlightenment. Okay. So though unsought was nonetheless attained. So obviously, what I think the line means is this extraordinary great Dharma is innate in all of us because the Buddha nature is innate in all of us. The question is, if that is the case, how do we unearth that? Is it through faith and understanding? And the Buddha knew that, so he used skillful means to do that. And so this is the crux of the message for today, I believe. So in the past, many Sangha that followed the Buddha, none of them ever thought they could attain Buddhahood in the future. And Dhamma was extraordinary. So therefore, to inspire them, the Buddha described his personal experience with all kinds of causes and conditions, and why one needs to have that deep faith and understanding and believing that themselves they could do that and eliminate the afflictions. Obviously, that we have all these 4 reasons why what has happened and why the way the 4 great disciples were in that particular state the way they did. And I think in some ways that sometimes when we listened much that we try to grow ourselves. Obviously, we all then have your own self, should I say, self-affliction, or own self-limitation that one has. But at the same time, there are also people who think that they're also better than the teachers themselves. So either way, I think that's the reason why we ourselves got to be very mindful or be aware of what the state of mind and the state of attainment that one is in. But I think if you understand and if you have an opportunity to read a bit of the Lotus Sutra, try to understand what is it actually that you're trying to attain. And then you realize they will open up your mind. So these 4 elders serve as a warning for us. There are teachings by example to help us spiritual practitioners know that if they do not form aspiration, it will not be like growing lotus on a dry land. So it's like the one. I think there are two parts to this. One is when you have the aspiration, but you do not cultivate. It's like having the seed and not planting it. Or number 2 is that you have the seed and not cultivating, and there are two different points to this. And it's dry. The land is dry because we're not. How should I say? We're holding on to the seed, and haven't got the nourishment to do that. And 2 is that you cultivate the seed, but you plant the seed, but we're not cultivating the land, and the land gets dry. So we got to be, therefore, reflect upon ourselves as to what state we are in. So if we do not respect our own nature of true suchness, right? Which is like going back to the initial verse, the nature of true suchness, which is where the great, the extraordinary Dharma is in, or rather, extraordinary aspiration that we have. And on depend on our past habitual tendencies, then we have negative tendencies, which is the 4 impediments, which this morning's lesson that Master explained. So the Buddha's enlightenment is called supreme, universal, and perfect enlightenment. There is no enlightenment that surpasses the Buddha's. So this is why, if that is already the ultimate, and therefore we see that there is a ceiling, so we not dare to want to that state. So we are obstructed their own opportunity to attain Buddhahood. So the 4 then reflected and repented in the past. And so we must be grateful to those 4 elders for teaching us through the example, and we must not think we are too old or limited by our position, and this is very important to know. Okay, but at another extreme, do not think that you're better than a master unless you really think you are an enlightened being. Then it's a different matter. So in contemplation. So do not waste this life just being an ordinary householder, even though we remain as a householder. This life is ordinary but precious. Why is it precious? Because you have earned this life through the merits, the virtues you have cultivated, to have the merits in this life, to be in this path. So, and you can make this ordinary life extraordinary. Meritorious indeed is a life that you have. Why is it meritorious? Because you have the merits that you have earned, otherwise you wouldn't be in this path. Rare indeed is encountering the Dharma, especially in this Dharma degenerating age. So extraordinary indeed is the life of an ordinary householder in practice. If you look around yourself, how many can you find? Forget looking around yourself, look amongst your family. How many in your family is doing what you are doing? On relationship, extraordinary relationship. Action can be louder than words, but both speech and deeds generated in harmony are the loudest. So we got to be mindful, because both in our speech and our deeds, you can be in harmony or it can be disharmony, but they are always the loudest by either what you say or by what you do. So such is an ordinary householder in practice who is extraordinary. However extraordinary, you must always remain humble, gentle, and simple in our life. The Master has often reminded us to do. Okay, thank you.
Then thanks so much, Brother Chin, for the sharing. Yeah. Okay. Everyone, please on your video, Brother.